What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Canelo Alvarez, Oleksandr Usyk, Eddie Hearn. Get this. Eddie Hearn on Canelo Alvarez states that he genuinely believes that he can beat Oleksandr Usyk for the world heavyweight title. He said to me, if you can make the fight at a pound above cruiserweight, which is 200 pounds, I will beat him. Wow. What's my counterpunch on that? I think Canelo Alvarez will get flack for everything he does. I think he's a very talented fighter. In this era, he will go down as one of the best in this era. And him speaking again on fighting Oleksandr Usyk and telling Eddie Hearn that, first of all, I think that's something that has been going through his mind. I think Canelo Alvarez is looking for challenges, looking for more challenges. And I think that Canelo Alvarez has the type of mindset that Roy Jones Jr. had in his heyday, okay? Because Roy Jones Jr. was the only person that started around the weight that Canelo started and excelled and moved up and collected belts. Okay. Similar records, mind you. You know, Canelo actually took a loss. You know, you could argue that he took a couple, but Canelo has that one loss, just like Roy had to Griffin. And he went up to challenge the best. You know, the Hardings, the Tarvers, you know, the Lou Delvals. He moved up in weight and then, you know, taking on the heavyweight John the Quiet Man Ruiz. And it would be an interesting fight for Canelo because I think Canelo has figured out his body. I think Canelo has figured out that, hey, I punch harder, I feel better, heavier. Some people can do that. Some people's punch their power can move up with the weight that they move to. Now, as far as Usyk, that would be a difficult fight for him because Usyk has something that Floyd, Lotta, not really Trout, but Lotta and Floyd really had, and that was footwork, movement, constant movement, true boxing ability, okay, and overall offense and defense combined, okay? And that will be a problem for Canelo. But I tell you what, Canelo Alvarez has something that I think that could give Usyk problems. I think he would be smaller, and I think that would be a problem. You got 6'3" compared to 5'9", okay? And coming from a southpaw stance, we really haven't seen Canelo fight a guy like Lara. I mean, Lara in his prime, because Lara's almost 40 years old now. He's like right up under Gennady Golovkin. You know what I mean? So Gennady Golovkin he's 22. So he had to be born in 82 to be 40. Well, Lara was born in 83. So he'll be 40 next year. So I think him fighting Usyk would be very challenging. I would love to see that fight because then Canelo would really be challenged, and I wouldn't really want to hear anybody say otherwise. However, there is a flip side to that. Usyk coming down from fighting Joshua. You go from fighting Joshua to Canelo. So let's see what happens in this fight. But if Usyk wins and beats Joshua again, I think that fight, and then, you know, of course, Canelo takes out Bivol and then takes out Golovkin, I think he would be more prone to go past 175 and, you know, avoid better beef altogether and go for Usyk. And I think him proposing that to Eddie Hearn, I know Eddie Hearn's gears are turning. You know what I mean? His gears are turning. How? He's like this. Okay, well, if my probably second in command, which is Anthony Joshua, first, second, because Joshua's a big draw. If he gets beat by Oleksandr Usyk, then Eddie could focus all his time on a fighter that he still has, which is the #1 fighter, the #1 box office fighter, the cash cow, Canelo Alvarez. Okay, so he can focus more on the guy that beat the guy, and he still has the guy that's the cash cow, that could possibly take on the guy that beat the second in command guy, which is Anthony Joshua. So it would be interesting to see that going. And I know that's a form of damage control because Eddie's like, okay, Usyk, you've beat Bellew. Usyk, you've beat Chisora. Usyk, you've beat Anthony Joshua, not once, but now twice. Now I still have the cash cow. I have it, and let's lay it all down on the line at a catch weight. Okay. Now this is where it differentiates, right, with Roy. Roy was a guy that went up to that weight. There was no catch weight. So Canelo Alvarez, I don't think he is tall as Roy, because I think Roy was about 5'11". Let's find out real quick. I mean, that's a good question because Roy's not a very tall guy himself, but he was, you can't say Canelo's not stocky. Let's see here. Height. He is 5'11". So he's a couple inches taller than Canelo, maybe 3, but 5'11" is close to 6 foot. But nonetheless, if that's what he wants to challenge himself to do, I think he should do it right. Because at any time, why would you want to handicap the heavyweight champ, the unified heavyweight champion of the world? Now, keep in mind, Usyk did say that I would take that challenge. That's only if I could keep both belts at the same time. I would challenge Canelo Alvarez. Okay, so that would be a possibility. And I know, since Eddie Hearn has told that to via Michael Benson, and Michael Benson has told the world, I think that's something that Canelo wanted to get out. Okay, it's like a ripple in the pond. Okay, so I think he wanted that really to be known that, hey, I think I can beat Oleksandr Usyk. I don't think Canelo would say that, even though Eddie Reynoso shut that idea down back in the day, if you guys can remember, maybe about 6 months ago when that was talk, But now I think since Canelo's talking again, he's probably talked to Eddie Reynoso and told him like, hey, look, I think I can beat Oleksandr Usyk. I think I have what it takes. But the question would be if he fought Oleksandr Usyk at a pound over 200 just to make that weight, would he classify as being the heavyweight champion? That's the question. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Canelo Alvarez saying that he believes that he can beat Oleksandr Usyk a pound above 200 pounds. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.